by Srila Prabhupada. Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Nara is a part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narayana. Thus, the energy and the energetic together are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, the energy and the energetic together are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maitreya informed Vidura that Nara, the portion of Narayana, had appeared in the family of the Kurus, and that Narayana, the plenary expansion of Krishna, had come as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with the purpose of delivering suffering humanity from the pangs of material burdens. In other words, Narayana Rishi was now present in the world in the forms of Krishna and Arjuna. So in this verse, the appearance, the demigods are worshipping with prayers. That's how we worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with prayers. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared as the sage Nara Narayana Rishi. So this is about the incarnation of God, the plenary expansion. God expands himself in many different forms, in many different incarnations. So one such incarnation is being talked about here, and that is the Nara Narayana Rishi. And when these devatas offered prayers to Nara Narayana Rishi, the expansion of Lord in this form, the Lord glanced upon them with mercy. Last verse we had discussed about the glancing of the Lord with mercy. And then the Lord left for the hill. And in this verse that we read just now, Prabhupada is in the translation, it is being explained. Maitreya Rishi is narrating this to Vidura, that Naranarayana Rishi, who is a partial expansion of Krishna, has now appeared as two. They have appeared as Krishna and Arjuna. Krishna in the Yadu dynasty and Arjuna in the Kuru dynasty. And what is the purpose for their appearance? The purpose is to mitigate the burden of the world. Bhara vyayaya cha bhuvaha. Bhuvaha means of this world. Bhara vyayaya. Bhara means the burden. Mitigation is vyayaya. So that is the purpose for which they have appeared. Bhara vahantarakau. We have read that in the Shad Goswami Ashtaka, that they also appeared. Bhara vahantarakau. To dissipate the miseries of the suffering humanity. Their lordships appears, their devotees appears, the pure devotees appear. Their purpose of appearing is to mitigate the suffering of humanity. So here Prabhupada writes in the purport that he's talking about these two words, the energy and the energetic. And he says that how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the energetic and his energy is Arjuna. And that's how they are Nara, Narayana. Nara means the human form, Narayana means Krishna. So whenever the Lord appears, the energetic appears, the energy is also there. The energy and the energetic both appear together. They cannot be separated. We cannot separate the energy from the energetic. Some time back, somebody had asked me a question that, Prabhuji, in ISKCON, why do you worship Krishna with Radha? Why not Krishna alone? Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if you just worship Krishna, that should be sufficient. But why Srimati Radharani is there? And this is the answer that Prabhupada gives. that Radharani, she is the energy of the energetic Krishna. So, and then Prabhupada explained this with a nice example, like the sun. So the sun is like Krishna, and the energy, that is the energetic sun, Krishna, and the energy is the sunshine. Now, is there any meaning in saying that the sunshine is existing but the sun is not existing? Or the sun is existing and the sunshine is not existing? Neither of, if the sunshine is there, sun has to be there. And if the sun is there, sunshine has to be there, because they are both the energy and the energetic, so they both appear together. So in the same way, we cannot worship Krishna alone, because Krishna means the sun, and wherever the sun is there, the sunshine also has to be there, and that is Srimati Radharani. So in the same way, we are also, of course, Srimati Radharani is the pure devotee, a internal potency of Lord. In the same way, we are also the jivas, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and so we are also existing, and our existence is dependent on the Supreme Lord. Just like the existence of the sunshine is dependent on the sun, so our existence is also dependent on the Supreme Lord, because we are His parts, we are His emanations like sunshine. But in our case, because we are very, very minute, very, very small, so we are prone to become impure. We are prone to become contaminated. And we have come down in this material world in this contaminated state, just like when the raindrop falls, it falls on a muddy place, it becomes contaminated. And so we have come down to this material world, and we are undergoing this process of purification. And as long as this process of purification is not complete, we'll be here in this material world, entangled, and we will be suffering in this material world. So here, in this verse, it is written that the purpose for the descent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is to deliver the suffering humanity from the pangs of material burdens. This is their purpose. So, we are all searching after happiness, and we are all searching after how to become free from the pangs of material burden. This is our goal. 2 verses in the scriptures aptly convey this. One is Anandamayobhyasat. Anandamayobhyasat means abhyasa. It's our nature. Abhyasa, we are used to, we want. What do we want? Anandamayo. We want to be happy. That's our nature. That's the nature of every soul. But on the contrary, because we have come to this material world, we are not happy. We are suffering. And so, another goal of the living entity is Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti. Anandamayo Bhyasat and Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti. Dukkha Nivritti means we want freedom. So, happiness can be experienced only when there is freedom from sufferings. And what kind of suffering we are going through in this material world? Not ordinary suffering. Atyantika. Atyantika means very heavy suffering. Atyantika, signifying, in one place Prabhupada says, ultimate, we have to find out solution, nivritti, solution to atyantika dukkha. Atyantika dukkha means the ultimate miseries in this material world. As one Bengali poet has sung, Sukhera lagiya eghara bandhila anale purilo gela. Sukhera lagiya karane, for sukha, for happiness, what did I do? Eghara bandhila. I lived here in this material world, constructed a nice house, had a nice family, and lived and wanted to live happily. But what happened? Anale purila gela. Anale purila gela means it all got finished, it all got burnt in fire. Meaning to say that we are planning so much happiness, but happiness is not there. Instead, only suffering comes. Prabhupada, when he was giving a talk, he referred to the example, a very famous example, John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy he occupied the most powerful political office on earth. He had a very good family, very intelligent, good looks, keen intelligence, rose to the most powerful political office on earth. But what happened? In a moment, everything was over. He was shot dead, he was assassinated, unfortunately. So this happened with him, the most important person, and this is happening to all of us. So, how to get rid of the sufferings? One of the reasons which scriptures analyze why we are suffering so much is because we very easily, we are not accepting God. Suppose you do not accept the government, that means you will suffer because you have to follow the laws of the government because you're living in this world. So in the same way, because we are part and parcels of Krishna, we have to accept Krishna. We have to surrender to Krishna. But we are not doing that. We say, and one of the reasons why we do not surrender to God is, people say, where is God? Why should I surrender to God? Prabhupada in one lecture, he points out that our saying that, who is God? Why should I surrender to God? This power itself is coming from God for you to say this. You're not realizing that. Today, you're saying very proudly, why should I surrender? But are you thinking who gave you this power to speak? Without this power to speak, we are like dead body, dead stone. A dead body doesn't speak, only a living body speaks. So who has given us this power? It is God. So like this, if we analyze, everywhere we will see that there are enough reasons to believe that God exists. He is maintaining, just like a child says, where are my parents? I don't believe in the existence of my parents. It is a mad statement. Avajananti mam mudha. That's why Krishna says. They do not know my existence, my param bhava, and they speak like this. They think that I do not exist, or I've come in this human form, but this human form is transcendental. They think this human form is just like another human form, and this is not me, the Supreme Lord. These are all statements made in ignorance. So, if I do not surrender to God because I am not seeing God, or for whatever reason I feel, and I say, as I was saying, that because I cannot see God, I do not surrender to God. So we have to make an endeavor to see God, to understand God, so that we can surrender to Him. Because it's quite natural, we will not surrender to someone whom we do not even believe exists. Right? So, surrender in the scriptures, there are so many instructions which if we read with faith, if we read with the help of a devotee, we understand it with the help of the way the spiritual master is explaining, it is not difficult to see God. It is not difficult to understand God. Prabhupada gave an example. We are all trying to see God. Can you see something in the material world without light? Suppose everything becomes dark here. Suddenly everything becomes dark. If everything becomes dark, I can't see you, you can't see me. So what is our seeing power that we talk about so much? And the sun itself that we are, with the help of which we are seeing, in the night, if it is dark and you want to see the sun, this is another example that Prabhupada gives. In the night, when the sun is down, and you say, I want to see the sun. Can you see the sun in the night? No. So, you can, and suppose you go out, okay, let me take out my best of the torches, the most powerful lamp, and search out the sun and see sun. And no, I can't see the sun, so sun doesn't exist. The sun can be seen when the sun itself decides to show himself up. The sun will reveal himself to us in the morning at the time when there's a time for the sun to reveal. In the same way, if we take to Krishna consciousness, if we follow God's laws, then God will reveal himself to us. That is the process to see God. So when we surrender to God, when we follow his instructions, then God becomes pleased and he reveals himself to us. So we are talking about suffering. Many a times Prabhupada, all throughout his lectures, he made us understand this important principle of how a devotee sees suffering. How does he see suffering? As a non-devotee would see suffering as, why did God give me suffering? If God exists and he loves us, he should not give us suffering. But our scriptures explain that these sufferings that we are undergoing is not because God is wanting to give it to us, it's because of our own karma. And when a devotee is suffering, the devotee sees this suffering as the mercy of the Lord. And he prays to the Lord, he thanks the Lord for giving him the suffering. Why is he thanking the Lord for giving him the suffering? You're getting suffering and you want to thank the Lord for your suffering? So he's thanking the Lord for the suffering because he feels that actually I was destined to suffer much, much more. But out of the mercy, out of Lord's causeless mercy, he is giving me a very, very small token punishment. So, just like Prabhupada says that if today I met with an accident and I got a small cut in my finger, then instead of being unhappy, I should be happy, thinking that Lord is so merciful that he protected me from the accident by just letting me go away with a small cut. Actually, my whole I could have lost my entire hand. I could have lost my entire limb, but the Lord just let me go away like this. And he thanks the Lord. And it is said that for one who has this understanding, for one who has this attitude, that Lord, I am so fallen, you're just giving me a token suffering. Thank you very much, your Lord. And he's not complaining to the Lord about the suffering that he's receiving. For one who has this attitude, Jiveta yo mukti pade sa daya bhag tattenu kampam susamikshamano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam. So, meaning, Mukti pade sa daya bhag. If you have this understanding, this attitude that yes, you are not going to complain to the Lord for the suffering, you're just going to take it, then mukti, liberation becomes your rightful claim. That means you are liberated already. After giving up this life, you're straight going to attain moksha, because this is such a wonderful attitude that we have. We are not complaining to the Lord, rather we are accepting, understanding it's our own karma and Lord is giving us in a very small portion. Daya bhag means just like a son, a father and the son. When the father passes away, the son, it is the son's adhikara to inherit the property of his father, right? Similarly, Krishna is our father. And Krishna is Mukunda, Krishna is the mukti giver, Krishna is the one who gives liberation. So we being his sons, if we have a good, if this is the attitude we maintain, then liberation is automatically granted. This is how we should take suffering. Caitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction to all of us, when we are faced with suffering, what should we do? One is this understanding that yes, when we are going through some rough phase in life, when we are undergoing some suffering, we must just take it as the Lord's mercy. But what should we be doing? This is our mood. Yes, take it as the Lord's mercy. But is there something else that we should be actually doing apart from just thinking and having this attitude? So Caitanya Mahaprabhu told this to one of his devotee, Kurma Brahmana. Kurma was a very nice devotee, a very devoted soul. And one day he invited Lord Chaitanya to his house. He wanted to serve Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya came, and Kurma Brahmana, and his whole family, children and wife and everybody in his family paid obeisances. They washed Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet and drank the Charanamrit water. And they served Lord Chaitanya with very nice foodstuff, took the prasadam, And then after serving Lord Chaitanya, offering him nice prayers and serving him like this, they made him seated. And then they were just thinking of their fortunate position that Lord Chaitanya has personally appeared in their house. They offered a prayer to Lord Chaitanya that, Lord Chaitanya, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and your lotus feet is sought after by the greatest of all personalities. Even Lord Brahma and the great Rishi Munis are hankering after getting a glimpse of your lotus feet. And today this very same lotus feet has come to my own house and I can see them with my eyes. I am so fortunate. I am so fortunate. My family members are so fortunate. My whole family has become glorified because of you coming to my house. My birth has become glorified. Everything that I possess has become very glorified because of you coming. Like this, he offered nice prayers. And then he prays to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, I am actually, samsara vishanale divanishi hiya jale. Samsara vishanale. In this samsara, in this material world, samsara vishanale. Vishanale means this fire. Visha means this material existence. It's compared to be like a visha, like a poison. So in this material existence, diva nishi hiya jale. Day and night my heart is burning with all this material suffering. So I am judaite nakainu upay, and I am not being able to find any solution for this. This is what one poet is singing. So I am quoting this. But so Kurma Brahmana is telling to the Lord that I am suffering and I do not want to suffer anymore. I want to leave my family and come with you. I just want to have your association. Because if you're having the Lord's association always, then there'll be no more suffering. And Lord Chaitanya has personally come to Kurma Brahmana's house. So he says, I want to now come with you, come along with you. I don't leave my family. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu says, no, you are a grahastha, you are a devotee in the householder life, and you have duties to perform. Just to give up your responsibility, thinking that there is so much suffering and coming with me is not a solution. You want to be free from suffering, right? So I'll give you the way. I'll tell you how to be free from suffering. And he gives him 2 instructions, how we can all be free. And this was an instruction to a householder. So this is an instruction for all of us. Whether we are brahmacharis, grihasthas, in the temple, outside the temple, anywhere. Kurma Brahmana was living outside the temple. So the 2 instructions that Caitanya Mahaprabhu gave him was, number 1, he said, you should be sincerely chanting the Hare Krishna mantra every day. And number 2, he says, not only you chant this holy name of the Lord every day, to whomever you meet, to whomever you see, you must preach this holy name, the glories of the holy name, to him also. So 2 things, if we always remember in our life, to be sincerely chanting the holy name, attentively chanting the holy name, and to be talking about the holy name or preaching about the holy name to the others, whomever we see. These 2 things, Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, not only you will be free from suffering, but what was Kurma Brahmana's desire? To personally be with the Lord. He wanted to go with him. He says, if you're doing these 2 things, then you will have my personal association always. So this is how. So what does it mean? That means, will all our sufferings go away if we do chant Hare Krishna or if we preach the holy name of the Lord? Sufferings will be there for everyone in this material world. The sufferings will not go away. But when we take to this devotional service of chanting and preaching, then even though the material world may inflict its injuries, even though we may be put in a situation where there are a lot of sufferings, we will not experience it because our mind is absorbed in a higher pleasure. So very easily so these sufferings will come. It will appear as if I'm going through a lot of suffering, but actually in my mind, because I'm situated, because I am preaching, because I am doing something for the pleasure of the Lord, we will not experience those sufferings. So now, how do we, if we are undergoing suffering, whom should we approach for being relieved of all our sufferings? What do scriptures tell us? If we are suffering, you have to approach a person who knows the formula to give you freedom from suffering. And who's that person that we should approach if we are suffering? It is the spiritual master. Once, a devotee, Gargamuni Prabhu, he writes to Srila Prabhupada, because when Prabhupada was there, all the devotees were very happy being in his association, and devotees say that they could not even dream of Srila Prabhupada leaving them and going away. This was during the last days when Prabhupada was about to leave his body. So this devotee, Gargamuni, he writes to Prabhupada, "My dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances at your divine lotus feet. We fervently pray that your divine grace continue to remain in this world because we need your personal guidance. Even when Lord Krishna disappeared, Arjuna lost all strength temporarily." And he's giving an example. You know that when Arjuna's prayer, when Krishna disappeared, there was some kind of a suffering for Arjuna because of the Lord's physical departure. He said, "I have the same bow, the same Gandiva, the same Arjuna, the same, but I've lost all my strength and I'm suffering like that." So he's saying, so Gargamuni is telling Prabhupada, you should not go away, because if you leave us and go away, we will all suffer, and we want you to remain in this world because we need your personal guidance. So Prabhupada's reply, just the first part of the reply, which the Gargamuni Prabhu is recollecting, he says, "I shall remain your personal guidance." He says, "I shall remain your personal guidance whether I am physically present or not physically present." And then Prabhupada says, "Just like I am getting personal guidance from my Guru Maharaj." So Prabhupada is saying, and he's substantiating what he's saying. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was not present at that time, but Prabhupada says, "I'm receiving personal guidance. In the same way, you shall also receive personal guidance from me. You will not suffer if you take my personal guidance. I'll always be available to give my personal guidance." So now how do we say that Prabhupada is available to give us personal guidance and to relieve us of all our suffering? Prabhupada many a time said that, "I have left my books and I am living through my books. I am living in my books. And if you read my books, you will get my personal guidance. You will get all answers." So Prabhupada writes in a letter, so utilize whatever time you find to make a thorough study of my books. Then all your questions will be answered. In another place he says, regarding your other, so once devotees thinking that there are some questions that they are not able to find answers, what does Prabhupada say? Once one devotee asked Prabhupada, "Prabhupada, what if we don't find answers to your questions?" Prabhupada says, "There is no question that I have not answered. If you are not able to find answer to a particular question, just read my books again and again. It is there in my books. You have not read enough. You have not read my books sufficiently. You have not read my books thoroughly, and so you are not finding answers." So once it so happened that devotees they started reading some other books, trying to find their answers to questions which they were not getting, so-called, not getting. So Prabhupada is writing, regarding your other question, you should not read such nonsense books. Not allow your mind to dwell on such subject matter, something else. Instead, utilize your time for advancing in Krishna consciousness by reading our books. We have got sufficient stock, and if you simply go on reading them, chanting regularly 16 rounds, engaging yourself 24 hours in Krishna's business, then all your questions will be answered automatically. Because Krishna promises his sincere devotees that he will give intelligence to understand him. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. So Prabhupada is saying that if we just engage our time in reading, chanting, doing devotional service under the direction of Prabhupada, then we will get his personal guidance. So Prabhupada, if we want to be free from these sufferings in this material world, we have to absorb our mind in some transcendental subject matter every day. Because the sufferings are all coming and it is arising in our mind. It's a mind which is suffering. We are unable to control our senses. So the sense and mind, because it is not being fed with some transcendental pleasure, it is suffering. Just like if you don't eat good nutritious food, you will suffer. But if you eat good nutritious food, there's no suffering, you'll be so happy. So suffering is of the mind and the senses, and they have to be fed with something, with a transcendental food. And that transcendental food is absorbing ourselves in the books that Srila Prabhupada gave us. So no matter, books are always there with us. We have an opportunity of being in touch with Prabhupada books. 24 hours we have access to Prabhupada books. So we have such a wonderful opportunity, such a nice arrangement, especially these days with all these gadgets and all. You have the entire Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Caitanya Charitamrita, all 70 volumes of Srila Prabhupada at your fingertips. But from there, it has to go here. That is what is not happening. We just keep them in our hand, but we are not taking them inside us. We are not reading them, so it's not affecting our mind. But we have to read them. How much struggle, how much energy Prabhupada put in to establish the movement and to give us these books. Prabhupada, from day one, he was constantly meditating on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's words that if you ever get money, print books. Prabhupada would sleep at 10 p.m., get up at 12 in the midnight and write these books. From 12 to 4, he would write these books because he was so anxious, because Prabhupada was aging. He was concerned about his health. So he was so anxious to give us all these books as soon as possible. He wanted to be free from all the management because he just wanted to give us these books. Once, a reporter asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you wrote so many books, 70 volumes in 10 years. It's an unimaginable feat from material. If you think of it in material terms, it cannot be accomplished. Nobody has done it except Prabhupada. No author in the history has done it, whether material or spiritual. So the reporter says, Prabhupada, were you getting direct inspiration from Sri Krishna to write these books? And then when reporter asked Prabhupada this thing, a devotee was sitting at the feet of Prabhupada. So he jumps in to give the answer, even before Prabhupada could speak something. So this devotee says, yes, my Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada is receiving direct personal inspiration from Krishna, and that's why he wrote these books. So Prabhupada just very silently, very gravely, he said, no, my disciple doesn't know the fact. He says, there's something more that was happening. It is not that I was being inspired by Krishna to write the books. He said, Krishna was directly dictating to me the words, and I was simply writing the books based on Krishna's dictation. Every word that is there in the Bhaktivedanta purports are words of Sri Krishna personally. They are his words, not my words. So, you see, what a wealth of information we have with us. It is not just the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita that is given by Lord Krishna. Every translation, every line of the purport is given by Sri Krishna through the pure devotee Srila Prabhupada. So that is why we relish Bhaktivedanta purport. Sometimes back some devotees were telling me, and this is the experience of many devotees, that we love reading the purports of Srila Prabhupada. So we should not miss this opportunity. This is a wonderful opportunity that we have with us, Srila Prabhupada books. And if we just absorb ourselves in books every day, 1 hour minimum, then there is no cause for suffering, there will be no cause for anxiety, there will be no disturbance in the mind at all. This is guaranteed. Prabhupada is guaranteeing this. But if we do not do this, and we try to make different methods, do this, do that, do different things, but not read, then there will be mental anxiety, there will be suffering, there will be all these things. So, this is what we must remember. Here in the purport also it is being said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His devotees, they come for the purpose of delivering suffering humanity from the pangs of material burden. And this is the way that they are delivering, of course, by their presence, and when they are absent, through their instructions, through their teachings, they are delivering us. So we must be very serious and to take these instructions and thereby feel the presence of the Lord and His devotees. Just like Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, if you are chanting, if you are preaching, and if you have to preach, you have to read, then you will feel my personal presence, and that means there will be no more suffering in this material world. We'll end here. Grantra Srimad-Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanand.